Good day everyone, I am Joshua Calapit, a student of Mariano Marquez State University, currently pursuing a bachelor's degree of secondary education, major in English. And for today, we will be talking about the motion, should corrupt leaders be given death penalty? Here is my side. Ever since time immemorial, corruption has been existing. It is a deeply rooted social and governmental issue that has been plaguing our government, which in return has gravely affecting majority of the people living in a nation. As defined by Transparency International, corruption is the abuse of entrusted power for private gain. It erodes trust, weakens democracy, hampers economic development, and further exacerbates inequality, poverty, social division, and environmental crisis. Exposing corruption and holding the corrupt to account can only happen if we understand the way corruption works and the systems that enable it. Moreover, corruption can take many forms, and it can include behaviors like public servants demanding or taking money for favors in exchange for services, politicians misusing public money for or granting public jobs or contracts to their sponsors, friends and families, corporations bribing officials to get lucrative deals. All of these are examples or forms of corruption. Hence, as a solution to this matter concerning transparency of government leaders and public officers, the debate on whether death penalty should be given to corrupt leaders started to arise and polarizing arguments between people began to heat. The sentiments of the people were divided, causing a lot more confusion regarding the issue. In definition as described by Hood, capital punishment, also called death penalty, is an execution of an offender sentenced to death after conviction by a court of law of a criminal offense. Capital punishment should be distinguished from extrajudicial executions carried out without due process of law. The term death penalty is sometimes used interchangeably with capital punishment, though imposition of the penalty is not always followed by execution, even when it is upheld on appeal. It is because of the possibility of commutation to life imprisonment. Furthermore, as a concerned citizen and through thorough researches, here is my stand regarding this matter. As a democratic country where everyone is equal regardless of age, gender, and social status in life, corrupt leaders should be penalized with death penalty. To substantiate this, the following are my arguments. First, all government officials, as they pledge to be just and objective in their duties and responsibilities as public servants, must not steal money of the country. They must establish a government and deliver services that of utmost transparency and accountability. For instance, in the Philippines, as stated on the 1987 Constitution or Republic Act No. 319, or commonly known as the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, on Section 1, it is the policy of the Philippine government, in line with the principle that a public office is a public trust, to repress certain acts of public officers and private persons alike which constitute graft or corrupt practices or which money may lead thereto. Therefore, whoever public officer or who engages in any corrupt activities must be penalized based on the succeeding sections of the act. Second, graft and corruptions are two of the topmost reasons why a country or state is not progressing but continues to have the downgraded services to the people, or what we call governance. According to Mukundi and Tito of 2006, corruption results in grave violations of socio-economic rights, condemns people to extreme levels of poverty, and often leads to social unrest. Curbing corruption is therefore critical to the achievement of good governance and the rule of law in many countries. Third, corruption in the government must not be tolerated, as to the money stolen must be allotted for the improvement of the whole nation and address the concerns of the citizens. It is the money of the people and therefore must be utilized only for their benefit. Public money is for government services and projects, taxes collected, bond issued, Income from government investments and other means of financing government expenditure are meant for social grants, education, hospitals, roads, and the supply of power and water, and to ensure the personal security of our citizens. Corruption and bad management practices eat into the nation's wealth, channeling money away from such projects and the very people most dependent on government for support. Lastly, corruption affects us all. It threatens sustainable economic development, ethical values, and justice. It destabilizes our society and endangers the rule of law. It undermines the institutions and values of our democracy. But because of public policies and public resources are largely beneficial to poor people, it is they who suffer the harmful effects of corruption most grievously. To be dependent on the government for housing, healthcare, education, security, and welfare makes the poor most vulnerable to corruption since it stalls services and delivery. Delays in the infrastructure development, poor building quality, and layers of additional cost are all consequences of corruption. Many acts of corruption deprive our citizens of their loyal or constitutional and their human rights. This is according to corruptionwatch.com. Therefore, those government officials or any public servants working on the government found to be involved in any corrupt activities must be punished by death penalty. Good governance entails accountability, transparency, enhanced public participation in decision making, strengthened public sector and civil society institutions, and greater adherence to the rule of law. Thank you very much for listening. This has been Joshua B. Calapit and for another productive discussion. Thank you very much.